Canada was a colony of Britain and was being settled on for a very long time. Around the 1860s, Canada and Britain alike thought it would be best if the Upper and Lower Canadas would merge together to form their own country, with their own country's money and their own country flag. This is for a variety of reasons, but mostly because of the American Civil War that had happened just a little earlier and the fear that Americans would try to migrate north into British territory. It was also due to the fact that around 30 years earlier, Canada had gone through a rebellion where people wanted more control over their government. The proposed Canada, forged by the Fathers of Confederation, which included Sir John A. Macdonald and George Cartier, asked Britain if it would be okay for them to break off from the Empire and become their own country. Britain agreed, only under the circumstances that they can control all border negotiations with the U.S. They also wanted Canada to remain part of the British Empire, but by granting them country status, they were giving them a lot more independence. The British North America Act was granted on July 1st, 1867, and the Dominion of Canada was formed. It consisted of Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. Fun fact about the Dominion of Canada: Sir John A. Macdonald and the Fathers of Confederation originally wanted to call it the Kingdom of Canada, but Britain basically told them that was a little too fancy, and Dominion was chosen instead. We now have the first 4 provinces of the Dominion of Canada, but you may be wondering, what about all the other provinces and territories? Well, the now Prime Minister Sir John A. Macdonald bought Rupert's Land and the Northwest Territories from the Hudson's Bay Company in 1869. We now had our first territory of the Dominion, and after encouraging Western settlement, the native Métis felt threatened by European immigrants. They formed what was called the Red River Rebellion and tried to negotiate with Canada on giving Métis some of the land. The rebellion was short-lived, but out of it, the Métis got their own province, Manitoba, which protected their rights. The Dominion of Canada was now 5 provinces and a territory, and not long after, in 1871, another province decided to join the Confederation. British Columbia was booming from the fur trade and decided to join. PEI was next to join the Confederation Party in 1873. At the same time, Sir John A. Macdonald started the production of the Canadian Pacific Railway, a great influence in the expansion of the western provinces and territories in Canada. After Alexander Mackenzie's short term in office in 1874, the railway was complete. Macdonald was re-elected in 1878, but by the time a new territory had entered the Dominion, Sir Wilfrid Laurier was Prime Minister. 1896 marked the start of the Klondike Gold Rush, and due to the population boom and economic activity of the area, the Yukon was added as a separate territory in 1898. After the creation of the District of Keewatin and a few border adjustments, Sir Wilfrid Laurier successfully brought in Alberta and Saskatchewan in 1905, which in turn got rid of the District of Keewatin. If you're wondering where Newfoundland and Labrador is, you might be surprised to hear that they didn't join the Confederation until a whole 44 years after Alberta and Saskatchewan were formed. But, in retrospect, they probably could have joined sooner considering how the vote went. After the addition of Nunavut in 1999, Canada was complete. It may have taken a long time for Canada to be completed, 134 years at that, but I'm sure none of the Fathers of Confederation would have wanted it any other way.